Wait.
See, now I can hear you fine. Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty Show Startup Draft Review. We're in round 11 of a new startup. It is a 12-team Superflex tight end premium best ball, and this is an extreme receiver premium. It gives an extra point to all catches, plus the extra half point to a tight end. So all catches are worth 2. Tight ends get 2.5 for the point for the reception. And yeah, we're just gonna say it is 6 points a touchdown pass, but yeah, the skill players are gonna be scoring a lot of points in this league. Best ball start 12, so there's gonna be 300-point weeks all day long in this one. We've got Matt English in the house, who's also in this startup. Matt, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good this morning, man. I think I mentioned to you this has been one of the most fun drafts I've done, just because of the timing and all the little nuances within the draft that help set the league. It's been a lot of fun. Thus, it makes my morning great. Though you did just snag someone I wanted, so I'm not happy.
Hey! I had DK. I had to grab Gino. It's best ball. Gotta light it up when DK gets in the end zone, right?
That's part of the game, man. It's part of the game.
That's right. So we're gonna get to the board here shortly. You mentioned the timing of this startup that we're doing. I mean, we just had the Senior Bowl last week, and it's Super Bowl week, so we haven't even finished the 2025 season or 2024 season technically yet. But you know, it makes for an interesting strategy here with the rookies, we're drafting rookie picks with kickers, which many do at this point in the off season if you're doing a startup. So that adds a little strategy to it as well. All right, why don't I bring up the board for you all? I'm sure you're all waiting to see the excitement here. How did the first round go? Now, mind you, we also want to let you know before you see this, if you're doing startups right now, Sleeper has not adjusted their ADP on the boards yet, so they're still reflecting the old 2024 startups values. And so Dami Salami at the top there went Mahomes, and I'm sure, well, I know I didn't mind that. I'm sure you didn't mind that being at number 2.
No. Someone was asleep at the wheel there, and just my opinion. But yeah, Josh Allen falling to me at 2. That was more than I could have hoped for. I was fully ready to pull the trigger on a Jaden Daniels or Lamar Jackson there at the 2 spot. But Josh Allen fell to me, and I'm going to take it. So it's the only share I have of Josh Allen in Dynasty. So I'm trying to make the most of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair to Dom here, Mahomes is still a legitimate good quarterback. All right. And he may very well end up outscoring all the rest of the quarterbacks for the length of their careers here. I doubt it. Because I would go Josh Allen, but the point is that Mahomes could easily bounce back next year. You know, Rashee Rice comes back, Kelsey stays, and the offense just actually scores some points, and they're not averaging 22 a game. Maybe they get back up to 30 a game here. It's possible. I'm just saying I don't see it because I think Mahomes likes being a game manager, and so I don't know. But I do know that the Chiefs offense looked a heck of a lot more explosive when they did have Rashee Rice in there the first couple of weeks this season. But I'm not arguing Mahomes to be taken at the 101 by any stretch. He should go probably in the middle of the second round. But anyway, as you can see on the board here, the first 6 picks still were quarterbacks. Even with this extra reception, I was a little surprised. I thought Chase, with his big season, might have gone a lot earlier than the pick 7, but I'm sure the Reaper was more than happy to grab him there at pick 7. And then you had Jefferson go right away. Saquon Guess not really that surprising with all the hype and the anticipation of the Super Bowl here. He went right at pick 9, and then it finished off with myself taking Neighbors, CD, and Amon-Ra, and then Puka right at the turn. So if you analyze how the first round went there, Matt, other than the Mahomes pick, any other surprises really?
Not really. I mean, all the receivers I expected to go went, right? I think Neighbors was a great pick where you got him at the end of the first there. I was shocked to see certain receivers still available in the second round where they were available. Because I get like this past year, we saw a resurgence of the running back position because people, some of the big guns stayed healthy. Okay. And I think the market is going to overcorrect itself a little bit because of that. And I think what you're going to see that here with the running backs that come off based on everything. I wasn't overly shocked. I'll put it that way. That's what I would expect to see. But yeah.
Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly on the point you made there. To back it up, your point of the market overcorrecting itself back towards the running backs, when now the running backs this upcoming 2025 season will be coming off of a legendary season in regards to health. Okay, I mean, you go down the list, and how many of these running backs played all 17 games? Saquon, well, he sat the last week, I guess, so he didn't. But you get it. He wasn't hurt.
Yeah.
You go all the way down through
Aaron
all these
Williams
teams, Josh Jacobs, Achane, Breece Hall, even. Well, he was dinged up a little, but Kyron Williams, all the way down, James Conner. I mean, all these guys, they didn't miss
healthy. Yeah.
They all cook. Yes. I mean, all these dudes who regularly, I mean, I draft a running back in redraft, and I'm expecting them to only play like 12 or 13 games.
Montgomery stayed healthy. Kamara stayed healthy. Like guys that miss games were not missing games. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, you need to understand, just look at the numbers over the past 10 years, because history don't lie. History repeats itself. And, so what happened health-wise with the running backs last year is more of an aberration than what's going to become the norm here. So keep that in mind. And that's more of I don't know, it's not only just a redraft thing come August, but in mind with your dynasty leagues that some of the running back values now are probably pushed up maybe a round or so, whereas the receivers are down. Like you were able to get Brian Thomas here at the back end of round 2. And as you can see, I took Neighbors and then I came back with Gibbs. I was contemplating Brian Thomas where I took Gibbs, and then you were able to get him later. And it's not that the value difference isn't much. Like it's more of a flat tier that whole second round anyway, right? Like I could have taken just about any of those other guys that got taken in the second round there. I could have taken Bowers, could have taken Herbert, any of those quarterbacks. So it's really kind of after the first round, it's kind of a flat tier through the second round, I would say. And then we had third round reversals, so we went back to the end there for the brand. He got Jonathan Taylor at the top of the third, but I mean, any surprises there in the second round? I don't really see too much. That I mean, you could argue Caleb maybe.
Marvin Harrison, as high as he got picked there and I know he's valuable and I know he's ranked up there because he's young and it wasn't a horrible rookie season. But I'm just a little shocked to see him up there where he is. I get it's a startup, but I mean, go ahead and take Marvin. I'll gladly take Brian Thomas and then follow it up with Ladd McConkey, getting the wide receiver 5 and 10 in the second and third. I'm stoked about that. I figured with the way that Marv closed the season and the way that some of the other people closed the season, that you would have seen a little bit little bit different.
Yeah,
I
agree. I mean, I have Nico and Brian Thomas ahead of Marv. As much as I love Marv and his profile, I would take them ahead of him in a startup. There's no doubt right now. Now, Fossboss he grabbed Marv there, and he was able to trade up and snag Kyler Murray at the beginning of the third round there, which Kyler Murray, obviously a very polarizing quarterback. He's burned a few people over the last few years now, so some people have a bad taste in their mouth over him. But the fact is, he still can be a top 10 quarterback. It's just a matter of, honestly, this offseason, does him and Marv gel this offseason?
Right. Yeah, I think there was a clear disconnect there because he wasn't even looking at Marv as first read a lot of the times. But this is best ball, and Kyler Murray can be a very good asset in best ball. If there's a lineup league, I'm not sure I'm trading up to get him, but in best ball, to guarantee yourself that stack, it's not a bad move at all, and it actually makes the Marv pick a little bit better having the quarterback attached to it. So.
Right. Yes. I mean, I like stacking up wide receivers in lineup leagues, but I love doing it more so even in best ball formats, because best ball, you're trying to swing for the fences. Like, you want high ceilings, right? You don't want to draft a bunch of floor players, because then you're just going to end up finishing in 5th place. So I'm always looking for the high upside. Even in this format with a lot of the PPR, the extra PPR, I'm still looking for the home run hitters, Jameson Williams types like that. But at the same time, those guys that get extremely high volume target wise, they are very valuable in this league. So I can speak to that because I've played in this kind of format before. And so, yeah, the format bodes well for tight ends, bodes well for wide receivers. Running backs, maybe a little bit less valued, but still, relatively speaking, you're still picking the running backs against each other. You're mastering them up. And I mean, you can see here, Henry and McCaffrey fell all the way down to the 6th round there. They went back to back. Mark Andrews there too. So you saw a little veteran run there in the middle of that round. So McCaffrey was just sitting there on the board because, again, this was the ADP on the board showed last year's ADP, and McCaffrey was like whatever a 3rd round, 2nd or 3rd round ADP in startups last year, and now he went in this draft probably where his ADP will settle in. Mm-hmm. It could rise a little bit as this offseason goes on. And, the health reports are positive on him. And, we all know what he can do on the field, Hall of Fame level talent. It's obvious. It's just whether or not he can stay healthy. Any thoughts there, Matt, on the older regime there?
From the say again?
CMC, Henry, Andrews.
Yeah. So number one, I feel like Derrick Henry was a steal in the 6th. In fact, I contemplated grabbing him somewhere in the 5th and 6th, because with Derrick Henry, he showed zero signs of age catching him last year. Zero signs of it. He had big games, running people over, fast, explosive, and in that offense, I feel like Derrick Henry's got another couple years left in him, which is what I would gauge most running backs when I draft them in a startup. I need 2-3 years. I think you're going to get 2 more years out of Derrick Henry. I could be wrong. Maybe he shows a complete dip next year. But I think he's a great grab there. McCaffrey, based on where you're getting him, I don't know if I'm pulling the trigger on him there in the 6th, but it's not bad to take a shot, right? There's worse picks you can make. And then Mark Andrews was somebody that was in my queue as well.
You grabbed Hawkinson
in front of him. I mean, Bowers, Laporta, McBride, Kincaid, Hawkinson. I mean, he gets taken right where it should be taken value-wise. I'm not taking Kincaid ahead of those two guys that went after him, but he's right where he probably should be, where the tight ends fall. Maybe around early, but yeah, that's what. Yeah, you could have got him in the next round, is my point, because he was coming back around. But either which way,
right? Yeah, Henry. I mean, I think the dude's going to play until he wants to stop playing. Like, he might go make a run at Emmett's rushing record, honestly. But the guy had more carries than anybody ever in high school history, and he hasn't stopped.
Yeah, so, he is an absolute beast.
Who else do I want to bring up here? Speaking of the veterans, Terry McLaurin there down at in the middle of the 8th round after his big season. Mike Evans not too far after that. So you still had some. I mean, there's nothing wrong with picking those guys right there in round 8. Those weren't reaches. They're point producing veterans. Solid picks. What about your thoughts on the quarterbacks here? Because I see like Matthew Stafford went ahead of McLaurin. So did Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was kind of hanging there. I really was hoping he was going to fall to my next pick there, where I ended up going with a rookie pick. But, Darnold's somebody who I could see his value going back up again this offseason.
Darnold he went closer to where I wanted to take him, so I'm not shocked where he went, because I feel like he's going to start somewhere next year. I don't know if it's Minnesota, but he's going to start somewhere next year. So I think he's a great grab there. I'd have taken him over Stafford. Darnold's going to play a lot longer than Stafford. I think he's going to play this year, but what's he got after this year?
Right.
So,
yeah, definitely Darnold. I can see Darnold. Cleveland and the Giants really are looking like good spots right now that come to mind right off the top. But it comes down to what those guys are willing to do and negotiate. I mean, Darnold is technically able to be franchise tagged by the Vikings and then traded. Right. Or they do a sign and trade type deal as well. And that's what the Vikings are hoping to do. But then you've got Darnold's camp, who's just going to probably do everything they possibly can to avoid signing anything so that he can probably get a better deal.
Yeah.
And have a little more control over where he does play in that regard. But at the same time, the Browns and the Giants probably do want to negotiate that deal, so they have to pay less to him. So there's kind of a little counteractive game there going on. But yeah, I think McCarthy is definitely going to be the starter in Minnesota if I had to bet on it right now. So at the same time, I feel like Darnold is a pretty safe bet, actually, of when you're talking about the potential free agent quarterbacks. And I kind of lump Cousins is in that area. Carr is in that area, because you don't know for sure their situations. New Orleans is just ugly right now. And who did I say before Carr?
Stafford, Cousins.
Cousins is another interesting spot, because I don't see why Atlanta wouldn't want to get rid of him. Like, why would you want to pay somebody $40 million to sit and play backup?
Right.
But
they've already made the move. So
at the same time, how hamstrung are they by that contract they gave him? So right. I know there was an out after 2 years on it. I'm not sure after the first year exactly. So it all depends on
trade clauses in there.
I don't know the details on it. So you got to figure Atlanta hopefully had some kind of plan for that. Now I'm a Bucks fan, so I hope they didn't, and they're screwed. But we'll see, because I'm 100% sure Penix is the guy now. They're not going backwards there. Penix did nothing to to get out of his QB1 spot right now. Penix ended up going right in the 5th round, right there. He went before McCarthy.
5'8", 5'6".
Right after Bryce Young. So that seems about the right spot. Bryce Young bounced back. I personally I'd probably rather have Penix, honestly. He's got better weapons. But that could all change this offseason too. The Panthers could easily draft someone or sign someone, T. Higgins maybe, or draft McMillan. So you never know. Who else would I want to bring up? Trevor Lawrence went there in the round prior. Dak went in the 4th. What do you think about?
Tell you, some of the order in which these quarterbacks came off the board, I was shocked. I was shocked to see Purdy, Lawrence, Dak, Anthony Richardson all go in front of Baker Mayfield and Bryce Young. Very shocked to see that. And McCarthy and Penix for that matter. When you and I did that deal in the 4th, I knew I was giving up on Bo Nix at that point. But Baker was my next quarterback. So the 4 that went in front of Baker, I was shocked and grateful at the same time, because those weren't guys I was currently hunting. So that was shocking to see those quarterbacks go. Yeah.
That brings up a good point. Our trade that we made, actually. So it was on the 402, and the quarterback's on the board. I still hadn't had a quarterback yet. So the quarterback's on the board, and I'm sitting at the back end of the 4th, and I know I can sit and wait on a quarterback. I knew I would get somebody in this range, but there was Bo Nix, the other Penix, Baker, the veterans, Baker, Dak, T-Law, and Purdy, right? And so I figured I'd be safe in being able to get one of those at the 410. But and you knew that too. So you tried offering a deal where it was I was getting the 4th and the 7th, and you were getting my 4th and 5th or something like that. It was very fair, but I was like, there's no point in me doing this, because I'll just sit and wait for the quarterback, whatever one falls to me. But then you offered your 26 first to me for my 27 first. And I took the deal then based on the value of time, I guess, is what I did. You were looking at it more as you wanted a 27 first over the 26.
And I wanted to get a deal done so I could move back.
Yeah.
And gain a second pick in the 6th.
Right.
That's what I was trying to accomplish. Right. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and put up, this was a range where it was, you knew that these quarterbacks were going to go, and you having Josh Allen knew that you didn't necessarily, you could take whoever.
I just need a starter.
And right, because you got Josh Allen. The point is, when you have an elite, one of those top 5 quarterbacks there, especially in best ball, where your 2nd, 3rd, 4th quarterbacks can be whoever, you didn't even have to take a quarterback with your following pick where you took McCarthy. Like, you could have waited.
Well, actually, I moved back to the 410, and I did wait again because I took Bucky Irving.
Right. You got the value of Bucky Irving there. So
RB5,
to speak, value.
RB5 or 6.
Right. He's 5 or 6 right now. I mean, on Keep Trade Cut, he's technically only behind Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley, and Breece Hall and Achane. So I think he's 6. Maybe he's ahead of Achane now.
No, he's just behind Achane, but he's like 5 or 6, but I took him as the 9th running back off the board.
Right. So this is a point here to make, though. Yeah. So Keep Trade Cut may say one thing, but then when it comes down to reality and the draft actually happens, okay, this is how they got picked. Yeah. They went Achane, Jacobs, Kyron Williams, and then Bucky. Now, again, the ADP had Bucky at his ADP of last year, which he was a 4th round rookie. So he was just buried down on the board there. So people may have forgotten about him. but he still did go ahead of James Cook. He's coming off a monster season. Definitely ahead of ETN, but also definitely ahead of the big gun veterans in McCaffrey and Henry.
Yeah, that was a shocking move there. Taking ETN at the end of the 5th. That's a crazy move.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a reach, but I think again that was going off of last year's ADP there by Dami Salami. Now let's get into more of the strategy here. So a couple of guys have done some interesting moves here. I'll start with Let's Go Brandon there, picking at the 8th pick in the first round.
Right.
He has worked the trade back method, and he even started with that method in the first round. Now, in lineup leagues, I'm not a big proponent of trading out of your first round pick because it's you want to have at least a few studs, as many as you can. But in best ball, dude, best ball, I'm telling you, you can win without a single stud elite player on your lineup because you can get elite scoring weeks from just about anybody in best ball on a week-to-week basis. And so, like, I've won leagues in best ball with 4 or 5 trash quarterbacks. Okay, I didn't have anybody close to Josh Allen on my team. Like last year, I won a league where I had Baker and Bo Nix were my 2 best quarterbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Let's Go Brandon used that strategy, traded out of the 8th, moved back, picked up a couple of extra picks with doing that. Yeah. So he got a 3-for-1 in that deal.
I was going to say,
so he gave up Jefferson.
Yeah, he's only traded 2 of his actual picks and a future 26 second. So he's only come off 3 picks, and then look at everything he's taken from that. This is actually really good play by him, in my opinion.
Yes. So
what he's been able to get from his deals. Yeah.
There to highlight, those are the extra picks that he was able to acquire here. And the pick that was T. Higgins, he got extra draft capital from. And but yeah, by trading out of Jefferson, he picked up McBride and I believe he picked up the Richardson pick and an extra first. And then he I'm trying to think what he did with Foss to get the McBride and Purdy picks. Who knows, because Foss traded around quite a bit.
I'm pretty sure he gave up a future first at some point. Yeah. Maybe the first that he acquired, he gave up.
Right. But you look at the squad now, right? He didn't get Jefferson there, but he built around quarterback. He tried a mini quarterback horde, so to say, in the 4th round there. He scooped up 3 quarterbacks. And so now, yes, he doesn't have an elite quarterback on the level of Allen, Jackson, or Daniels or Hurts, but with Caleb, Purdy, Dak, and Richardson as a wild card, I mean, he's going to get elite and at least one elite performance each week.
He just fired off a pick. You see that? He just fired off a pick.
Oh, there it is. Tank Dell. Nice buy low. I like him as a nice buy this offseason.
He's not going to play next year.
He's not going to play next year.
The 12th, 11th round? Man, I'm telling you, he's not playing next year.
No, he's not going to play next year.
Yeah, but, in his knee. He's done. That's the first questionable pick he's made. So, I can't.
I don't mind taking Tank Dell there, but I understand your thought process in saying that he's going to be taking a lot of zeros from him in the lineup.
Yeah.
So in a lineup league, I'd be more favorable towards taking Tank Dell. In best ball, I have to agree with you that I'm more leaning on a pass on Tank
Yeah,
Dell.
if
I'll
I had
let
a
somebody else.
I could stick him in IR immediately. Yeah, then it makes more sense to just have the
Right,
talent
but
and hope he comes back strong. But in best ball, no, sir. And look, I love
Yeah,
Tank. You know that. I love Tank,
oh
but
yeah,
I could get rid of him on some rosters. I would.
yes.
It's tough.
I know he's one of your favorites. All right, let's
Yes.
look at another dude who's done a little moving around the board here, and that's Carlos CD Velasquez, friend of the house, joined the show many times in the chat. And so he was able to land JD at the 105 in the first round. So I'm sure he was more than happy at that because, in all honesty, Daniels should be going in probably the top 3 picks right now. So good value out of Daniels. Then he got Nico, great pick in the second round.
Stellar
Drake
pick.
May in the third. Love that pick. Because I contemplated, if you look over to my pick, I took the 101 at the 302, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But I contemplated Drake May where I took that. So he got May a little later. Then he landed Baker at the end of the 4th round, which was his 3rd quarterback. So, not always something I love recommending in best ball, especially when you have already got Jaden Daniels. But hey, he's going to score points at the quarterback position. There's no doubt about that. And plus plenty of youth in JD and May. And Baker's not really that old. He's only 29. So, I mean, he's got plenty of years.
He blocks the rest of the market from getting another quarterback, and it could be a trade asset post bye week. You never know.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
it's not a bad play.
No. And then he's got Nico. He grabbed T. Higgins, then Zay Flowers, Addison. I mean, great top 4 wide receivers. He just took Pearsall the last round, which is sort of a wild card, Pearsall, but I could easily see either Debo or Ayuk no longer being on the Niners come the actual start of the 25 season. And then that would definitely increase Pearsall's role for sure. And then at running back, he's got Kenneth Walker and Monty. I don't mind that at all. He scooped up one. Oh, and Chuba. So Chuba was a steal where he grabbed him.
Oh,
absolute steal.
Look, I wanted to take him when I took I took another kicker there. I guess that was for the 109. I got the 109. I was thinking about Chuba.
Yeah. With this influx of good
earlier, I was thinking about it. And I couldn't believe he was still there when I was thinking about it, but I started thinking the value of the 109, what can I get there versus Chuba and his value and what he's going to bring. And ultimately I came to, I would rather take a shot in the rookie draft at 109 because 1, the picks value is only going to go up. 2, if I don't trade that pick, I can draft quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, or running back. So I just more flexibility taking the pick over Chuba, and I was hoping that he'd still be there, which he wasn't. So
yeah,
no big deal.
You definitely, when you're taking the rookie picks, the kickers in this case, in a startup this early, you're definitely going to be gaining value. There's no doubt about that. These rookie picks where we're taking them here, and this goes even to where I took the 101. Getting it at the 303. If I highlight my team here, there you can see
risk, but is it really because of what you are going to have access to take there, right?
Yeah,
you can take one of the top 3 running backs. You can take TEP. I mean, or you could go Travis Hunter.
Right. In this format, we are getting IDP points.
Maybe you got a hard on for Cam Ward. I don't know.
Right. I've got a lot of flexibility there. Yeah. It kind of depends. And by doing that, by taking the rookie picks early, you allow yourself more flexibility throughout the rest of the draft. You don't like this last pick I made. Now it's in round 11, but I was sort of boxed in. I only had one quarterback. sort of boxed in, but not necessarily. I just took Geno because all that's left after him is Carr and Rodgers as far as for sure starters, even if they are for sure starters next year. So I grabbed Geno as my second quarterback. Plus I had DK. But by taking the rookie pick there, I didn't box myself into a corner and having to take some other positions earlier or feel like I had to take a quarterback earlier, because the flexibility of the 101 allows me to, go out and with the 101, I can literally go out and demand just about any quarterback, or I can at least bring it to the table to try and get one of the elite quarterbacks. Like if I'm going after Jaden Daniels and I'm bringing the 101 into the conversation, that goes a long way versus bringing the 105 into the conversation.
Now don't be talking bad about my pick.
Hey, I got the 106, so 105's all right. 106 is better.
Yeah.
So there's my squad. As you can see, I've got the 101, 106, and now 201. So I've got a lot of flexibility with this squad. Only true running back right now is Gibbs. I mean, you could pencil in Genty at the 101 if you want right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I end up with him.
Right.
So I would guess, my guess, the 101 ends up being more in the range of the middle of the first. Like if you flip-flopped where I took the 101 and Marvin Harrison, that would probably be safe flip-flop, I would think, for picks-wise going forward through the rest of the off-season here. Now I'm trying to highlight the rest of the board here.
Just click your name.
I'm gonna go back out. There we go. Okay. So there we go.
All right.
All right. Here's the board again. Now, who else's strategy do I want to bring up here? So one thing we talked about was McCaffrey falling down. And so the Reaper here, he hasn't done any moves. So he's played that strategy of just sitting in the middle of the draft. Again, this draft now, we selected our draft positions. We let the sleeper randomizer run 3 times, and then we had our pick positions. But then whoever had the 101 got to choose, did they really want to keep the 101 or did they want to move somewhere else? And with the third round reversal, that plays into it a little bit. As you saw, I think the 101, 102, and even the 103 maybe stayed the same. Or I think the 103 guy went to the back.
Yeah, he went to the back. He went to the 12. Yep.
Yeah, he went to the 12. But you saw the ends of the rounds fill up first.
Right. And
then the last people picking their draft slot were stuck with picks in the middle. Maybe explain that kind of strategy. Why is it preferred maybe to be at the ends of the rounds as opposed to the middle of the draft?
That's fairly simple. You're firing off 2 picks in the same talent pool. So you're able to pull, the thought is, right, you're able to pull 2 guys right next to each other. But the downside is you're waiting quite a bit between every picks or between your turns to pick, right? So so you give up on that, but again, you're grabbing 2 out of there. Now with the third round reversal, having the end of that first round, getting yourself at the end of the first round, like in the, I'll say the 10, 11, 12. I won't even throw the 9th in there, but the 10, 11, and 12, you're firing off there at the end of the first round. But that third round reversal, getting to pick the 3, 1, 2, 3, that's a big deal. That it almost overcorrects the snake of the 1, 2 spot or the 1, 2, 3 spot. So, yeah. So, and for me in this draft in particular, I'm used to so many third round reversals. I get on the back end all the time and take advantage of that. I wanted to try to do it from the front end this time. And see what I could get. I also wanted a shot at Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Jaden Daniels. So,
Yes.
But I took the 2 spot because I didn't want the 1. I didn't want to be right on the turn, but I wanted to be close enough to it. So,
yeah. No, I love having one of the first 3 picks. But yeah, if I can't get one of the first 3 picks, I want one of the last 3 picks.
Right.
I like having the 110 in particular because there's only 2 guys after me picking, and a lot of times you can kind of gauge who people are going to take or what position they might take. And that comes more into play later in the draft. Early on in the draft, you can, of course, take any position really. So you're not sure who they're going to take then. But yeah, it comes more into play later on in the draft, like where we are right now in rounds 11 and 12 here coming up. But yeah, the Reaper, he's done well out of the middle, hasn't been able to move much around, but he's looking, let's see. So he started off with Chase. He was the first one to take a wide receiver, went Chase. And so his wide receiver room is looking like Chase, Jaden Reed, Debo, and Pittman. So it's all right. Those 3 receivers obviously all had down seasons last year. Those guys all went later than they did back in 2024's offseason. But they all have the opportunity to bounce back this year. Now, I don't love betting on those guys, but at the same time, their value's all depressed. So they are somebody that if you wanted to get as a throw-in in a deal, whoever's owning them right now probably doesn't have the best evaluation on them or feeling about those guys because they all disappointed last season. And so he got great value on those guys is my point.
Well, here's something else to think about. He's got the 102 and the 108?
Yeah,
so
108. Yep. I was just going to get to that.
Aston Ginty goes to the 101, he's going to have first crack at Tat McMillan. Right now, his receiver room looks a lot prettier. Okay.
Absolutely.
And he got
Travis Hunter.
Got McCaffrey at a pretty decent value there. So it's actually taking into consideration where his rookie picks are. I think it makes the team make more sense and look a lot more attractive because with that 108, that's look, just fired off.
There it is. Derek Carr off the board. That's why
take him off my cue.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like as far as like all the first round picks are gone, it looks like only the 201 is off the board, correct?
No, we're at the 204 will be the next rookie pickup. 201, 202, and 203 are all taken.
Okay. Well, that changes things because I was considering a rookie pick here with my next pick in the 12th.
Well, value-wise, according to Keep Trade Cut, it's still right about where it should go as of now, value-wise. So there's that. But, of course, we know the rookie picks will accrue in value, and then it all depends on your league and your activity level as far as how much value they actually carry in a trade discussion, because we're picking these rookie picks 3+ months before the actual NFL draft. There's a lot of time here for those values of those
to
picks
shift around. Yeah, you could have a lot of guys rise up, and all of a sudden this looks like a really thick draft class. So,
yep. That's what I wanted to bring up next was the Senior Bowl. We had Jackson Dart and tight end out of Miami named Bronson Arroyo just blow up. And so Arroyo, I'm going to bring up the screen here quickly. Okay. So Bronson Arroyo was somebody who was regarded as a decent tight end prospect coming into the Senior Bowl. But him, Harold Fannin, Mason Taylor out of LSU, Jason Taylor's son, legendary Dolphins pass rusher. And those guys were all at the Senior Bowl. And
Joy Taylor's his aunt. You got to like that too.
Yes. But from all accounts of the people who were actually there at the Senior Bowl, and I watch a lot of podcasts of some people who were there at the Senior Bowl, and it's not just those guys, the fantasy guys, it's the actual NFL scouts as well. They all believe that Arroyo is now better than Harold Fannin as a prospect. And I'm going to bring up my here. You can watch Elijah Arroyo here running some routes, smoking.
Just
EBs here.
That's like the hardest catch in the game over the shoulder.
Yep. There's one here coming up. I think it's this one where he just loses his guy.
Oh, sure.
Yes. And so you can see the elite route running ability he showed here at the draft. That one he smoked it. That was the one.
Yeah, that's zone coverage. He'd be picked up by a safety there. But either which way, if you watch how tight his hips are when he's coming in and out of his moves, for a tight end, that's pretty dang impressive.
That's impressive, yes. And the scouts were all quick to point out that it wasn't that Fannin did poorly at all. It was just that Arroyo did so well. And what this helps is just the depth as a whole for this rookie class at the tight end position. Because not only do we have Tyler Warren from Penn State and Colston Loveland from Michigan as the top two tight ends, and Fannin was in that discussion as well. But now you throw Arroyo into that mix. And then you have Gunnar Helm from Texas, who's been regarded by some as a top 5 tight end. You've got Mason Taylor from LSU, and you've got Luke Lachey from Iowa, who came back from a brutal foot injury. He broke his ankle down. It was something down there in that part of it. And he was out for a year and came back at the end of this season and looked good. So this tight end class is really deep. And this just goes into last off season. I did a video on the tight end revolution. And what it was about was the youth coming into the league, because we all knew Bowers was a huge prospect, right? Now, I didn't expect him to be tight end 1 in his first year, but lo and behold, he did. And now, was I shocked? No, I mean, he was a better prospect than Laporta was, right? Laporta wasn't even the top prospect in his class. Kincaid was. And so you can see, though, those are 3 names right there: Bowers, Laporta, Kincaid, all young dudes. And now you've got this tight end class coming in. I mean, yes, Andrews and Kittle and Kelsey, if he doesn't retire, are produce some for you. But when you're looking dynasty-wise, I'm telling you guys, do not waste high draft capital on an older tight end. That's all. Build smart. And don't overpay for those older tight ends right now, because there is a ton of young guys ready to take over this league at the tight end position. And it's going to happen quicker than you can realize, because right now we've got what's the top of the rankings at the tight end class right now? In our dynasty rankings, it's basically you got Bowers.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Bowers, Laporta.
I'm missing someone. McBride.
McBride
is young as well, right?
Yep. Then Hawkinson.
You can see the order here. So it went Bowers, Laporta, then McBride, and then there was a wait, which made sense. Those are pretty much the top 3, right? Then Kincaid. You took Hawkinson, then Andrews went, then Kittle, and then Pitts.
Yeah.
And so after that, we've had Likely, Njoku, and Kmet go. Tell us, but you took Hawkinson there, with I guess, uncertainty at the quarterback position in Minnesota. I don't want to call it uncertainty because that brings a negative context on it. I don't think it's a negative that they have McCarthy sitting there in the wings. But, it's a little crowded in Minnesota with the target share with with Jefferson, Hawkinson, and Addison all there, but do you just see it as a place where they're just going to sling it around a lot, so it doesn't matter?
I mean, unless they draft a running back in the first or second round, I'm pretty sure they're going to be throwing the ball quite a bit. It's Kevin O'Connell offense.
I think even if they draft a running back, the running back's going to be able to catch the ball a lot.
That's true. That's true. So, I had McCarthy there, and then on the turn, I mean, look, I was looking at a few guys there, but Hawkinson looked fantastic. If you look at his numbers from last year, once he came back from injury, with this league setup, his numbers are fantastic. And I know that's with Darnold, but the offense will be the same, right? Jefferson's going to command what he commands, but Hawkinson's going to get that too. So, yeah, super stoked about his numbers from last year.
There we can see Hawkinson's numbers, and if you look at this column in particular right here that I got the arrow on, that's what you want to follow. Those are the target numbers there for Hawkinson: 4, 9, 3, 9, 6, 5, 7, 5, 6. I mean, those are solid target numbers for a guy in an offense with
that has Jordan Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones. Yeah.
Yes. Those are very solid target numbers. And it also means he's a guy who's going to get single coverage in the red zone. So you could see this is an ideal prospect for a tight end spike, a touchdown spike season out of, like, getting to a 8, 9, 10 touchdown season, just because he's one-on-one with a linebacker in the red zone every time.
Mm-hmm. And he wins a lot. And it gives me a stack, right? It gives me McCarthy and Hawkinson stack. And then we'll roll Hawkinson till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me think here. Who else I want to talk about? Let me see how. So one guy here, Steve, who had the fortune of getting Lamar Jackson at the 104 there, which is about where he goes. I would say he should go in the top 3, but regardless, whatever, it's the top 4. So he was able to get Bowers there in the latter third of the second round. So what do you, I mean, Bowers could be an extreme value here in this format. I mean, Bowers is arguably a top 5 player in this format.
Yes. I'm not, there's nothing I can add to that. I think how you put that is perfect. He is a top 5 player in this format, and there's not a whole lot else to say about it because you're getting him at the end of the second round. The 2-9.
So,
that's fantastic.
So when you're drafting right. So when you're drafting the tight ends, know your format for one, whether you want to go elite tight end or not. And if you're going elite tight end, just stick to the top 3 there, and Bowers, McBride, or Laporta. Don't reach on one of the other ones and think that it's really helping you any. You were able to get Hawkinson down in the 6th round, and that's not reaching. So that's totally fine. He was able to get, then he stayed young at receiver. I mean, look, JSN, Adunze, DJ Moore, who's still 27 or 28, not old by a wide receiver standards. Jalen McMillan, and then Jerry Jeudy, who's also, he seems like he's been around forever, but honestly, I mean, he was in CD and Jefferson's class, right? I mean, he was the 2nd-rated wide receiver in that class, and now he's finally coming to fruition in the Stefanski offense. And unless they take a wide receiver in the 1st round this year, he's going to be the wide receiver 1 there. And right. I don't think it really matters who their quarterback is. Hell, they bring back Jameis Winston or whoever they bring in to Cleveland, he's going to be throwing the ball. And so I think Judy's a great pick down there. Yeah,
actually, I like his receiver room here with JSN, Rome, and McMillan. Have Judy Moore on there, nice little decorative pieces, in my opinion. But he's got a core of like 3 really good young receivers. I mean, JSN went from we don't know what he's going to do to now he's valued at the wide receiver 12.
Right.
So I think that's a good grab, getting him in the third round. That's he got several receivers. He got Rome when I was eyeing Rome, and he got McMillan when I was eyeing McMillan. So he's making some, in my opinion, really good grabs there. Because if he doesn't grab him there, I am.
Yeah, and then he grabbed. I'm trying to count which rookie pick he got there. It would be the
that's 108.
108. So still a solid rookie pick. Generally speaking, I would say a tier break is there right now around 8 or 9. But it's still early. We don't know. But generally speaking, the 108 gives you a lot of flexibility. We'll just say that. It's nice to have a first rounder thrown into the mix. So, all right.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all we got on the analyzing of the different ways to go about your startup. Know your format for one. Second of all, know your league mates, know their tendencies in drafting so that can help you, manipulate the board, move around the board. Or if you're in a spot where you're not getting value for the draft pick that you currently have, and you have to make a pick, be willing to just go with the rookie pick, especially now, to allow yourself some flexibility in the future, not only in the future of your startup draft there, but in the future of this draft season that we have going.
Right.
The hype builds up, so those picks become more valuable, gives you a lot of nice flexibility to strengthen your team elsewhere. And I don't know, you got any other thoughts, man, on a startup just in general right now for the listeners out there?
Yeah, I mean, one, don't get this is what I would say. If you're eyeing a bunch of guys, don't get willy-nilly because you see a couple of them come off right in front of you. You stick to your guns. Don't start reaching because there's a run on running backs. Don't overreact. You would rather start a trend than react to one. Okay, start a trend, don't react to one, and please God, just don't reach. Just don't reach. You don't have to.
There's so many players in this pool, and especially in best ball format. This is a deep. I just loaded up my queue and I'm going down to around 17, 18. And so there's plenty of talent out there. Like I said, in a best ball format, you can go under the round 20 something and get players that are going to see your lineup this coming 2025 season for sure. Yeah. So, all right. If that's all we got today. Reminder, you can always ask any questions at buymeacoffee.com, buymeacoffee.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Check out the Patreon and my updated rookie rankings at patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Thanks for joining today. Remember, never stop working.